Hey YouTube, I have a 3.0 2011 Audi A6, superchargers in the back of the car. I had a coolant leak, so I was able to do a whole bunch of things once I got the supercharger off. And while it was just a little more accessible, I decided to check into a code that I have for the secondary air. Now, as you go over to the passenger side front corner of the car, here's your secondary air pump. It's a Pureberg usually, and it has a tube. I have a lot of stuff apart, but there's a tube that runs up through the front of the car, across the top of the engine, back to the combi valves, which I have one apart over here. That's down in the back of the engine, way over here. Now I've seen where people who are cleaning the carbon out of the secondary air ports go through this little freeze plug right through the channel, the port in the front of the engine. If you remove the combi valve, you have access to the same port. Now, what I also saw them do was, now I've taken off the exhaust manifold, unbolted it, and you got about 2 inches of play. Now, what I've also seen them do is these 3 little holes here, here, and here. They've said that they get built up with carbon, and they do. I've cleaned 2 of them, and I just took this little wire brush. I'm not going to be able to get back there. It's a little, but if you stick it in there, it's probably about an inch or inch and a half, if it's even that. It's probably an inch. You clean out the carbon, but I don't really think that there's a whole lot of benefit to it. But and here's why. Here's the exhaust manifold gasket, and you see the dark spot right there, right there, and right there. That is where those 3 holes correspond. So there's a bit of carbon right there, there, and there. But it doesn't vent out anywhere. It doesn't. These bigger holes are what vent to the exhaust or into the manifold. So the fact that they're filled with carbon, which they are, doesn't seem to make any difference really to me. But maybe it does somehow. In any event, I did the same process. I had a little bigger wire brush for access in the back through the combi valve channel. Let's see if I can. Yeah, so I got this set of wire brushes at Harbor Freight, a Chinese wonder there. So this is what I used. I basically bent it and stuck it back into the hole where the combi valve sits, and oscillated back and forth. And then I took a tube connected to my shop vac, and just anything that came loose, I just sucked it out with a vacuum. Now, I think it was sufficient. I didn't have a whole lot of stuff in there. These 3 little ports are clogged, more than it seems the whole rest of the channel was. But again, I don't know if it really makes any difference. The driver's side is going to be a bit more involved. There's a lot more hoses there. It's kind of tough. I can't really get you a good picture here, but let me see. I can get to the combi valve back here, but I don't know if I'm going to go through the rigmarole of doing the little ports on the manifold on this side, because I have to take too much stuff apart. But I guess if you have a code for the secondary air, you might want to get involved with it. But I am not. Thanks.